Hello students, welcome back to your computer science class. I am Mrs. Jainisha and today we are starting a new chapter, chapter 12, tuples. The Python tuples are a sequence that are used to store a tuple of values of any type. You have learned in the earlier chapter that Python tuples are immutable. Unlike lists, these cannot change. You cannot change the elements of tuple in its own place. Python will create a fresh tuple when you make the changes to an element within the tuple. If you attempt to make any changes in the element of tuple, a new tuple is created. It is a sequence, it is a type of sequence just like strings, but it is different because strings will only take similar data type. This will take multiple data type. Okay, we will create tuples, we will access them, and we will do different operations on the tuples, although the functionalities are very similar to that of strings and lists. A tuple is a standard data type of Python, and it can store a sequence of values belonging to any type. The tuples are depicted by parentheses. You can see 4 types of tuples here. You need normal brackets. List has box brackets. Just like a tuple, just like a list, you have to make a tuple. Separate the elements with a comma. If the element is of string type, it will also have quotes. So tuple can be created by putting the number of expressions in parentheses. We use round brackets to indicate the start and end of tuple, and we separate the elements with a comma. Existing sequence can be of any kind of object. It can include string, list, and tuples themselves. Python creates the individual elements of tuple from the individual elements of the past sequence. So there is an inbuilt function or a method called tuple, and you can use the tuple word to create any string or list into a tuple. If a tuple contains an element which is a tuple itself, then it's called a nested tuple, just like we did a nested list. The number of elements of T is 3 ratio 1, 2 and 3, 4. Basically, there are 3 elements, 1, 2 and 3, 4 itself, which is a tuple, is the third element. If you look at the similarity with lists, you have the functions which is length, indexing and slicing, which does the same thing. You can also index the tuple. The first item has the index number of 0. Slicing will return a new tuple which will contain the objects between the indexes A and B, not including B. ABC will return a tuple containing every nth term from the index A to B excluding B. Okay, C is the step over here. Concatenation and replication of operators, plus and multiplication. The plus operator adds a tuple to the end of another, and the multiplication operator repeats a tuple. The individual elements of a list are accessed through their indexes. Similarly, tuple elements are also indexed. Forward indexing and backward indexing remains the same. There's an error over here. Instead of box brackets, it should have been round brackets. The concatenation operator, when you use it with tuples, will join 2 tuples. Remember, only and only 2 tuples can be joined. You cannot add a tuple with a number or a string. The multiplication operator replicates a tuple specified number of times. Tuple slices are subparts of a tuple extracted out, and the tuple slice is itself a tuple. You can compare operators, you can compare tuples using the comparison operators. The corresponding elements of two tuples must be of comparable types. Otherwise, Python will give an error. If you try and compare a string with an integer or a string with a longer string, it will give you an error. Python gives the result of non-equality comparisons as soon as it gets a result in terms of true or false. It jumps to the next element when the first element of both tuples is same, and so on. Unpacking tuples. Creating a tuple from a set of values is called packing, and its reverse, that is, creating individual values from a tuple's element, is called unpacking. Over here we have a T, which is a tuple, which has the elements 1, 2, A and B. I am going to use 4 variables w, x, y, z equals to T. Over here we are unpacking the tuple. That means each element of the tuple will be given a variable value. Every variable will take the first element of the tuple as its variable value. W will get 1, X will get 2, Y will become A, and Z will become B. This is called packing and unpacking. There are a few tuple functions and inbuilt methods: length, maximum, minimum, index, count. Similar functions we've done before. We've done it in string, we've done it in list. So length is used to find out the number of elements in the tuple. Maximum will return the maximum value. Okay, if you apply it with a string, it will return back the string which is the longest string. Minimum method will return the element from the tuple having minimum value. Index method will return an index of an existing element of a tuple, and count method will return the item that you passed as an argument, whatever is the amount of times that particular element has occurred in the tuple. Over here there is a program to find the second largest element in the tuple. I will explain this program next time. I have gone through this chapter very quickly right now because it's very similar to our earlier chapters. I want to spend more time explaining programs so that you understand the working of tuples. So I request you to go through this video 2 to 3 times to understand it fair and well. So when we are doing the programs, you are well equipped. With this, children, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.